Evening, gents. I just wanted to go over some shit that I've done to my bike. Oh, I forgot to fucking make a list. Evening, gents. Just wanted to do a little video overview of all the shit that I've done to my KLX250 here. We're in Chiang Mai, so really in Thailand you have two bike options. You have the KLX250, which is Thai made, and you have the CRF250L, which is Thai made. Any other bike you would have to import and basically double the cost of the bike. For instance, I looked up a KTM 350 EXE for 2019, which is last year, and in US dollars to buy it in Thailand with a green book, which is a title so that you can actually plate it, put the license plate on, was 21,000 US dollars, and that bike sells for I think 10,200 in the States you can pick it up for. So yeah. So basically you have two bike options. The Thais here, they got a lot of parts to trick these bikes out. There's a lot you can do to it, so I will do a little walk around with the camera and show you everything that I have done as I come across it, and all the extras I've done for the bike. I ride this every day. This is my get around town bike and is also my hardcore enduro bike. So yeah, we will do a walk around and I'll show you what I've done to it. Transition. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of go back to front and call the shit out as I see it. I may forget something. I may have to circle around to something. Let's start with the tires. These are IRC Vulcanduro tires. I really like these tires. They hook up nice. I've not had any problem with them on the street. And not that I ride street too much anyway, but I lean pretty decently on corners in the street, and I've never had an issue with grip. Great off-road. I can lower them. I do have rim locks on them. I've got heavy duty tubes, and these are Excel copy. You'll find the Thais love Chinese copy everything. So these are Racing Boy, which is basically just, I mean, they were much lighter than the stock rims. They were pretty cheap. I don't care too much about price, but the weight savings was nice. It was a couple pounds. The tires were on it when I got the bike, so it's been a few hundred miles, and they still look pretty good. Let's see if I can get a focus of the tread here. They still look really good. All right, let's go up to the exhaust. This is a FMF Chinese copy. Again, going back to the import situation, if you want a real FMF, it's expensive. I think it was $800 or $900 US dollars. The guys here at the engine shops, they all use FMF copies. They swear by them. It sounds good. I mean, I have good power. I have no problem with it. I would like to put on a real FMF at some point when I'm not poor, because like I said, they're very $800 or $900, whereas this one was $90 for the whole system. It's not so shiny as it was anymore. It used to be very shiny. But sticker kit was just from a local shop here. BNS Speed, it's probably your biggest enduro shop in Chiang Mai. If they don't have it, no one's probably going to have it. So, and unless you order from Bangkok, you can order from other cities. But here in Chiang Mai, BNS Speed is definitely the biggest shop. The seat was done here in Thailand from a guy who copies the Seat Concepts seats. Very nice seat. He does a wonderful job. Let's see if I can get the stitching in here. Very good quality seat. It's very comfortable. It's much better over the stock. He looked up the Seat Concept specs online, and he copied all the measurements and everything, so it's wider. Has that taper like the Seat Concepts does. And while I got the camera on it, these are I have two bags. I have a rig gear adventure bag that has a bunch of tools in it. I'll do a video on that later. It's fairly large, but it's not too large. It literally has every single thing I would need, except I have another Wolfman. This is the front fender bag. This has my spare tube in it, a couple of tire irons. Again, you notice I say front fender bag. I did cut it out, and I had a spot for it here on the front fender. The problem was I did not like the amount that the fender was bouncing with the weight on it, even though it just had a spare tube in it. This fender was bouncing down. It was bouncing a lot, and I didn't like it. I got a pull strap here, so when I get stuck, which I do a lot, suspension, while I'm pointed at it here, I did Ohlins on the front and back. That was the best mod that I have definitely done to this bike, besides the big bore kit. We'll come back to the big bore, but the Ohlins, they are adjustable. I took them to MX Moto Shop here in Chiang Mai, and they adjusted the suspension for me. I gave them my weight, told them what kind of riding I did. Much better, much better than the stock. The stock is so soft, and it's just, the stock is terrible. I bottomed it all the time. I'm 220 pounds and counting, depending on how much I eat. But yeah, it was just terrible. Up here up front, I have a second bag. I take this off depending on how far I'm going. This is another Wolfman. This is the Enduro tank bag. I just like to put food and stuff in this if I go on a longer trip. Obviously this has all my tools, so I really don't need anything else, and I have a backpack. But this is just nice on a longer multi-day trip. While I'm at the bars, I've got Renthal Grips. I've got a Renthal throttle tube underneath it. Fat bar. This is the RC Renthal High fat bar. I don't remember the model number off the top of my head, but since I'm taller, I'm 6'1", 180 or 188 centimeters. This bar is great. It's got a higher bend for taller people with longer arms. The mirrors I have not replaced yet. The mirrors are on my list to do. These are just the stock mirrors. They're terrible. I'll be replacing these with double take Enduro mirrors that fold, and they're much nicer to have. I've replaced both brake lines with braided steel brake lines. You can see I had to, of course, change out the mounts. These are Zeta, the mounts for the fat bar, or adapters, whatever you want to call them. I've got a little RAM mount here for my phone. This is nice for longer trips. It also has a plug that's connected to the battery, so I can actually charge my iPhone while I'm GPSing, and charges fast too, actually. So if I go on an hour-long trip, it'll charge my phone to full. I did replace the battery, not with the lithium. Lithium batteries are another thing that are very hard to get here. They actually, I think, are coming in this week, according to the guy at BNS, but they sell out so fast, and they order them in batches because they have to pay import tax on those too. But I did update the battery with just a better quality lead acid battery. I think it's the GS brand. I can't remember. It's got blue writing. I think it says GS. But here's a better shot of my Ohlins. Oh, I love the Ohlins. Okay. These are IMS Footpegs. These are impossible to find in Thailand. I couldn't find any Footpegs for the KLX. Let me get a different angle on them here. I actually had to brought these over my luggage from the US, which I will have to do to a couple other parts. But they got some nice claw on them, nice wider grip. I have not replaced the shifter. For one, I cannot find a milder steel shifter. You don't, from what I understand, I'm not an expert, but you don't want a super stiff shifter, because if it breaks instead of bends, you can always fix a bent shifter. You can bend it right back out, but if it breaks, it sometimes breaks off the splines here with it, depending on how hard the trauma was. So I'll probably stick with this, but I wish I could get a little bit longer because I have to raise it up super high because of my boots. I have a size 13 boot, but this is an EK520 chain. Nobody really cares about chains, but it's good quality chain. I have a 48 sprocket on the rear, and I have I don't know why I'm going all the way up there, Jesus Christ. And I have a 14 on the front, and it is about worthless on the highway. I can do 80 kilometers an hour or 55 miles per hour on the highway, and I'm at 6,000 RPM, swinging back around to the big bore. Because of the big bore, the bike is just super vibraty from all the extra power above 6,000 RPM, so I don't like to go. I mean, red line's at 10.5, so obviously I could go faster, but for me, with this gearing, 6,000 is the limit. I don't want to go any more than that. It'll vibrate my booty hole off. Stock tank, I will have to import an IMS tank from the States. That's on my to-do list. The double take mirrors will have to be imported. The stock tank, or the upgraded tank, will have to be imported. For the Ohlins, I have these Acerbis fork guards. These are nice. These bend with the bike. As the bike flexes, it keeps the seals clean. They're zip tied up here. What am I missing? Oh, the big bore. So there's a 363cc kit on this, done by Keng engine in Chiang Mai. I do all my work with Keng. Anytime I have something wrong with my bike, I take it there or I take it to B&S. But yeah, the 363 and the Ohlins changed this bike much for the better. On the dyno, this was at 33 horsepower. Another guy, I'm not sure how he got the extra horsepower on his KLX250. He was at 36. I did pop the top off the airbox, gained an extra horsepower. I replaced the air filter. What did I put? I think a K&N, I think, has a K&N washable air filter. I about converted this bike to dirt as much as possible. I mean, I love it. It's light. It's lighter. It's not a light bike by any means like a KTM, but again, it's about the best you can get in Thailand. And with some upgrades, I mean, it's a really fun bike off-road. You can see there's a lot of hills. Chiang Mai there's a lot of hills, a lot of mountains. Well, those clouds are really bright, but you can't really see. But up in like these mountains there would be there'll be a ton of single track dirt. You can go up into the mountain, and this bike's great for it now with everything I've done to it. Lightened it up. The new tank, the plastic IMS tank, will definitely lighten it up a lot more. I think that's about it. Yeah, if you do nothing else, put a big bore on it. At least get a 300 or 305. I think the KLX has. Same with CRF. You get the big bore parts, the kits. I mean, there's a ton of shops that do them here. Keng did a really good job on my bike, and he warranties my bike. I've had some very minor problems. Took him back, he fixed it up, no problem. So the big bore and the Ohlins, I can't imagine. It was a night and day different bike with the handling. So, I forgot, obviously I have bark busters on. That's kind of a given. And I have bendable, these shift levers that bend back. Of course, I have bark busters, so thankful I've never had to take advantage of that. If you drop it, it's good to have these levers if you don't have bark busters. But and even if you got bark busters, on my last ride, I'll show some footage. It was nasty. Nope.
Oh shit.
But yeah, I'll do a little sound test for you here. You can listen to it. All right, we're in neutral. Let it warm up for a minute. Turn on the trip. So yeah, I think that about wraps it up for everything I've done this. I love this bike. These bikes are very reliable. Maybe not so much with the 363. I may have compromised some reliability there a little bit. I guess time will tell on that, but I think the CRF 250L is a great bike with a 300 kit. That's probably perfect for most people. I just decided to get the biggest kit I could, just for shits, you know. Why not? But I may buy a CRF 250L in the future. Parts are definitely more common for those, especially in the States, because I think the CRF has been out since 2012 in the States, and the KLX 250 was made for made for a long time in the States, but there was that 6-year hiatus, and they just came back out with it in the States. So 2018 now has the KLX again, but it just, parts aren't as common. I was trying to find stuff like shift levers, pegs, and you just find one brand here or there versus the CRF 250L, which all the main manufacturers have stuff for it. So honestly, if you're buying a bike, the KLX 250 is better off-road in my opinion. I've ridden both a lot, and stock to stock, the KLX is just right out of the box. It's a lot better off-road than the CRF 250L, but they can both be made to be very good off-road. But the KLX just feels more nimble. I don't know. It does have a weight difference of a little bit, maybe 20-30 pounds. It's not much, but the KLX, for whatever reason, to me just feels a lot better. But they're both great bikes, so you can't go wrong with either one. So with that in mind, that about wraps the video up. I'm gonna go do some riding.